Welcome to Three Voices Unfiltered, where no topic is off limits and everything gets real. Join us,
Ranisha,
Teresa,
Suzanne, as we dive into hot topics, share our wildest experiences, and bear our honest opinions and thoughts. Buckle up, because with us, it's always raw, always vibrant, and absolutely unfiltered.
welcome everybody to another episode of Three Voices Unfiltered. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that is, we're going to try to make it as lighthearted as we can, but it's really important because I know that it's happened to many of us. So life doesn't always go as planned, but sometimes the detours in our lives lead to the best part of our story.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So why don't each of us just take a little bit of a time and talk about some of the detours that has happened to us. Let's start when we were younger, in our teens and our 20s,
I was in high school. I was a dreamer. So I always dreamed about big things for myself. In another episode, we talk about dream jobs.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to California. And then I got an idea that I wanted to work for Prince. And I was going to go to Minneapolis my senior year after I graduated high school. And then I found out I was pregnant. And I'm like, I can't leave this little rock star to go work for a big rock star. I'm going to stay home. That's literally what happened. I wanted to go work for him. He had just opened up this online catalog store where he had people, it was called 1-800-NEW FUNK. And people were calling and ordering his things. He was like one of the pioneers of online shopping.
Okay.
And I wanted to do that. I wanted to work at that store. And then I found out at 17, I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my goodness, what? It was nerve-wracking. It was shocking. But I couldn't leave my child. I'm like, no, I can't leave my baby.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take him away from structure, family, to go live out some wild dream that I had in my head. So I stayed home.
Wow. What about you, Suzanne?
I've had a lot of detours. We could be here for days talking about detours, but as a child, this was a pretty big, unplanned, but welcomed detour. So I lived with my mom and my grandma in a big household with cousins and aunts and uncles. And when I was 16, I moved with my aunt. My uncle was in the Navy. They were stationed in Puerto Rico. They moved to a base in Puerto Rico, all English speaking. I grew up Spanish speaking. So I moved in with them just for more opportunities and just a nice change for a 16-year-old to be. I didn't have a sister, so I had a cousin my age. So that was like huge for me. Mm-hmm. But the plan was for me to, because I didn't speak English, to go to a public school in town that was Spanish speaking, just like regular high school in Puerto Rico. But while my cousin and her siblings went to the school on base, which was all English speaking. Well, I went to the public school, and their school hadn't started yet. Ours started earlier. So when I went to the school, it was awful. It was dated. Wow. There were barely any books. Kids were smoking pot outside. It was, and I mean, I came from like straight A student. We had books. We had great teachers. I was shocked. I'm like, this is not going to work for me. So I went home. I went to the school one day, and I came back and I told my aunt all about it. And I said, I don't know about this. And I'm, trying to figure. At that point, I was only 16 years old. So trying to process it in my little 16-year-old brain. And the detour was that they talked to the school on base and they said that I could attend, but I didn't speak English. That was a big shock. Okay. So I had a few more weeks through that summer to pick up some books. And I remember reading the dictionary, reading books, trying to get as much English as I could into my brain so that I could make it in the school. And I made it, and it was a hard shift, but it was a good shift for me. Eventually, I didn't graduate with the grades that I wanted. So that was kind of really sad for me because I was a straight A student.
Wow.
But the opportunities that opened up from that, I was able to, meet Kevin's dad, move to the U.S., finish my degree here, and get more opportunities than I would have if I would have stayed in Puerto Rico. So that was very unexpected.
Yeah.
For me, I shared this story in a previous podcast of ours. When I was 19 years old, well, when I graduated from high school, I didn't want to go to college. And so I wanted to be a career girl. I wanted to have the car, the apartment. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do all of those things. And then at 19, I got pregnant. And I got pregnant. And so those dreams were put on hold. I don't want to say that they didn't happen, but that was the detour. They were put on hold. But when my son was 4 months old, I moved out of my mother's house. And I got my own apartment, my first one-bedroom apartment. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing.
you a
I ain't had no
career
furniture. I had no furniture, you guys.
Oh.
I had a bed.
She was happy.
I took my bed from my mother's house. But anyway, and so that was the detour for me. And then eventually, I did get the career. I did get to travel, and I've traveled a lot. I traveled a lot. But anyway, so I was able to do that, but that was a detour for me, having my son.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the good things that happened after having Travian. I mean, I became a mom, and it was one of my highlights being a young mom, but I was so responsible at that age. And I think about it now, years later, how I raised a very responsible child who is a great person. He's married. He's got 2 kids of his own, and he's really thriving and doing what he wants in life. So I feel great that I made that decision. I tell him sometimes, it was you versus Prince, and I picked you. And you know how much I love Prince. You know how much I love Prince, and I picked you, child. Oh my God, I picked you. He's like, really, Mom? I'm like, yes. Oh
That counts.
Yeah.
Some parents don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Some parents will pursue their dreams or whatever they want to do, regardless of the cost to their children.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
reality. Because like for me, raising my son as a single parent, I chased money. So I would just take any job that was going to pay me more money. I even went to another state. I lived in New Jersey. I worked in New York just to, get the money. And I wanted to make more money because I did not want to leave my son, in other words, to have 2 jobs. You know how some parents, and they have to. I understand that you have to do what you have to do. And sometimes it is working 2 jobs. It really is.
It is.
And it is. And so I didn't want to do that because I always felt that I left him all day long. He goes to before school care, school, and he's in school, and then aftercare. And I didn't want that.
I didn't do that either.
I didn't want that. So I just sacrificed. And then when he was, 17 years old, and he went off to college, then it was all about me. And that's when things started progressing and changed for me.
Hey, this is Teresa.
For me. Yeah. But anyway, guys, let's segue and let's talk about being veered off script, detoured when it comes to certain relationships. Like divorce.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Moving to another state like I did.
Yeah, I
moved
did that
from
too.
New Jersey to North Carolina. Let's talk about blended families. Anybody want to share anything about those topics?
I have a story when this was a big detour. Had no idea. Kevin's dad separated from the Marine Corps. We went to South Carolina. He started a job that transferred us to North Carolina. We had no plans to move into North Carolina, so that was a detour. And I remember calling my cousin Michelle and asking her, hey, we're moving to Greenville, North Carolina. How far are you from Greenville? And she's like, 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So here I was going back to my cousin's sister that I grew up with when I went, when we did the high school, when I did the high school switch. So I was really excited about that. But the interesting part of the story, which I really believe this, is that when we moved to North Carolina, things just shifted in our marriage, and it led to divorce. So I had her 30 minutes away. Like, she was my rock through the whole situation.
Yeah.
And we had not planned at all to move to North Carolina. So I believe that God intervened, and he knew what was coming and prepped the way, because had we been somewhere else, it would have been awful, because, I guess if the dynamics in the marriage were going to lead to divorce anyway, I feel that I was in the right place at the right time in a really unexpected situation.
Yeah.
Does either you have any experience with blended families?
Not particularly, I don't think.
I do, because my first marriage, he came with 4 kids. I should have had sense enough to know that wasn't going to be good. But he came with 4 kids, and I already had 2. And then we had 2. So blending 8 children in a household where finances were not great.
That's a
And
lot.
also, not only that, is that we didn't have the same mindset of growth and taking the family to whatever levels it needed to go. I thought we should get our education, go back to school so we can get careers that could help sustain our family. He thought we were fine the way that we were. So that was a issue for me, and that ended up being more of an issue every year that went by, because when the kids were come for the summer, there were no bedrooms. I lived near you in Winterville, remember? The kids would come and they're like on top of each other. There's nowhere to sleep.
So no planning, or no even pre or post planning.
Nothing. And I'm like, this isn't the way I would want to spend my summer as a child. But he didn't have any awareness that this was a bad situation.
Or a drive to fix it.
Or a drive to fix it.
Yeah.
So, that wasn't a good situation. The good thing, I'm really still connected with his kids. They're
That's
all my
great.
Facebook friends.
Aw.
They've got kids of their own now. But yeah, that was some contention.
That's awesome.
And that actually ended up leading to the end of that marriage, because I was going up just trying to take care of what we had.
Yeah.
And he was just like staying where he was because he felt he was fine.
He was comfortable.
Yeah.
I guess I do, now that you mentioned, John and I are blended, but Kevin was already in college. So we didn't have, very rarely, maybe through holidays, where his son and my son and us, us 4 were together. So we didn't really have the dynamics of living blended for long periods, because Kevin was already in college. But I could see where blending families is not easy. They have different behaviors, they have different expectations, and than what you have, and you're trying. Their kids usually really don't care. They're gonna do, but that's what I do at my house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
And
was tough.
Yeah, so navigating that can get difficult.
That was tough. And navigating their mother.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast episode. Because the way I mothered and raised my kids was very different from how
Same.
she did hers.
Yeah.
And I remember an example is that we are all going to the movies. I'm taking 8 kids to the movies. And I give my kids allowance for doing different things. Little bit of money, nothing major. Her kids brought money. I'm like, okay, everybody has their own money. We're going to the movies. And she was upset because I made her children pay for the movies.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I
that's
made my
special.
kids pay for the movies, but guess what? I bought popcorn. I bought drinks. So what's the problem?
It's teaching them to be responsible and that
Exactly.
things cost. Everything is not free.
Exactly. I'm not going to say what I want to say. I'm going to leave that alone. But I taught my children responsibility. I tried to
Yes.
early. Like, this is your money. When it's gone, it's gone. You use it for whatever you like. But when it's gone, you don't have any more until you make more.
Till you get another allowance.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
you make... No, they had to work. So my kids were working. 4 kids? I can't keep up with 4 kids in a 3-bedroom house. That was crazy. But yeah. So we ran into a lot of issues like that where parenting styles were very different. They were accustomed to their mom doing this. My kids were accustomed to me doing something different.
Yeah.
They could curse. My kids couldn't. Mm-mm. It was different.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was hard blending that family together. And eventually, we just stopped,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share a little bit of a twist to a blended family situation that I regret not being a part of.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Back in, I think it was 2003, I believe, one of my sisters-in-laws passed away. And at the time, she had, I think, 8 or 9 kids. I can't remember. All of my nieces and nephews. I think she had 9. Anyway, the point is that she had children. And one of my nephews, who was a young adult at the time, took on the responsibilities of taking in 3 of the younger kids, 3 of the girls. And so one summer, I had the idea that I wanted them to give him a break. I wanted them to come to North Carolina to stay with me, and they did. They came and they stayed for 6 weeks. And this is the big regret. I wish that I could have had the mindset to keep them.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say at this time, because that was back in 2006, only thing I can say is that my job was demanding. I did do a lot of traveling, and that was my thought process. Would I have the time? And a little bit of it too was 3 girls. One was 15 at the time. The other 2 were 8 and 9, I believe, or 9 or 10. I can't remember. But I wish I would have kept those girls, and that's a big regret of mine. I don't know if I ever shared that with you guys.
No, never.
How are they today? Do you know?
Oh, they're great. Okay.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I know, they're great.
Oh,
the
that's good.
15-year-old, she's, 32, 33 now? You know, she has 2 little boys. I love them. I wish they lived in North Carolina because they would be with me, because I had her with me. The other 2, one is married. She's been married for quite a few years, no children yet. And I love her because she loves animals. And she takes care of animals. You know, she has her own business, you know, as far as grooming animals,
cool.
grooming dogs. And the youngest one is a talented makeup artist.
Wow.
Okay.
But she just told me the last time I saw her was about 3 or 4 weeks ago in Virginia, and she was I was so proud of her that she told me that she was getting ready to go to school to be a nurse practitioner.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And she
Nice.
would, and you know what? With her personality, she's going to be awesome. She's going to
That's
do a
awesome.
great job. So yeah,
But-
you know, they're cool. But I guess I kept that to myself, but I just regret that. I really do.
But you
know.
don't know what you impressed upon them during those 6 weeks. 6 weeks is a long time with kids, but God allowed you 6 weeks with them. You don't even know how that could have impacted them to be who they are today.
Yeah,
And it would.
Yeah.
I believe it would,
It would.
because you're a woman and you were working and doing all these fabulous things, and they saw their aunt doing all this stuff and working, and look, they're doing well.
Yeah. So, woo! I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I know.
I can
know.
see the little mistiness in
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. That's why I call them when I see them. I say, "Oh, my babies,
Yeah.
my babies." But I am proud
that
of
would
them.
have
But
been
anyway,
intimidating for anybody.
Yeah.
3 young girls.
Yeah, that's
Have
a
y'all
lot.
seen the movie Daddy's Girl? I'm gonna ask you. I'm asking Suzanne, have you seen Daddy's Girl?
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
think so.
Okay, Teresa.
I I've seen it many times. But yeah.
I remember, Teresa, you might remember the movie Jungle Fever, where the
Was in there?
one of the
Wesley Snipes,
brothers.
right? No, that was
Jungle
I'm thinking
Fever.
something else. Go ahead.
Did you all notice how she asked Teresa?
Teresa, do you remember Queen Latifah's show, Living Single? I remember. You do?
Because I know you haven't seen it.
haven't seen it.
Do you know that how that movie was?
Yes,
Like these three young girls, these ages, like your nieces, and had the work to take care of them.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Watch that movie. It's
I will.
really, it's really good. It's really
is
good. Daddy's Girl.
It's a Tyler Perry movie.
It is a Tyler Perry movie, but it's a different one. I think he did it really well.
I think I've seen like old Tyler Perry movies. Maybe I have seen it. Anyway, I will research that. But
Gabrielle Union plays the girlfriend, and Idris Elba is the dad of three little girls.
I have not seen it. Idris. Ooh.
Yeah, Idris.
I know.
Talks
He's
like
gorgeous.
this.
Oh, it's so cute. Anyway.
All right, well, okay.
See, I asked you.
She asked me fair. I have not seen it, so
Okay, for those of you who don't know, we have two different podcasts where Renisha asked me if I saw a movie and totally bypassed Suzanne. And one of the movies, Suzanne said, I saw that movie. And then the other podcast, she said, no, I didn't see it. That was good.
That's
That was
We had to
funny.
go through our podcast to find out
Yes.
which one it
That was
is. But
funny.
anyway, that was funny.
We'll link them. Let's link them
Yeah,
in the
okay.
comments.
Anyway, so let's talk about really quickly before we end. Do you have any inspiring or funny outcomes to like a detour that went wrong?
there's too many times that you think that you're doing something and it turns out chaotic, but then it was like really good. Like I'm glad it went that way.
I take solace in knowing that God knows. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because we have our own plans about what we want to do. Like me, I'm focused. I'm being a career girl, y'all. At 19, this is what 18, 19, this is what
Right.
I'm doing, you know, because I have my plans. But God said no. But he said no right now.
That's right. Yeah. It was a delay, but not a denial.
There you go.
That's
there
a
you
good
go.
one.
Okay.
That's very good.
That's a good point, Teresa. Having focus, but also being flexible enough to kind of go with what happens
Right.
and going with the flow.
Resilient.
Being
because-
resilient.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When the door shuts, finding another door to open.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this with y'all because you know that I was a human resources manager and I had to help managers make decisions about people's employment. They used to call me to terminate, and I'm like, no, I don't terminate people; they terminate themselves. But anyway,
like that.
when I knew that I had to help a manager make that position, I always talked to the Lord and I always say, even though this door is closing, let another big, better opportunity happens, for this person. They can't work here anymore.
Right.
But-
That's right.
Yeah, because and a lot of times things are just not a fit for people, So now they can go and they can pursue their dream job.
Dream job.
Yeah, That's
And
just
that
a little
hap-
plug for our podcast about dream jobs.
Yes.
It's a good point because sometimes a detour comes our way and we're devastated. Oh my gosh, the end of the world, and how am I going to get out of this? And we're devastated, cannot see past that block. But if you stop, like I'm preaching to myself, think about what did I learn from this? How can I shift it and make it better? Where can it lead me to instead of, it's like the episode we were talking about where I got laid off. That was a detour.
Right.
I got laid off. I'm devastated. And it's like, girl, that's a blessing. And she turned it around. And I knew in my heart that was a blessing because I was going to quit anyway.
Right.
But it hurt my feelings and I couldn't get past my feelings. But once I talked to you, you were able to help me see like, hey, this detour is a good detour. Like, enjoy the road. It's going to be fine.
Absolutely. I remember getting laid off in Texas, and I never thought I would get laid off again. I got laid off. I lost my job in North Carolina. I moved to Texas. Got laid off in Texas. And instead of being upset, I went to Panera Bread. It was a nice sunny day. I got a Muffy.
That's right.
And I sat down and I ate my Muffy in Panera Bread, and I just started applying for new jobs. And
Wow.
I got a great job downtown Dallas, met some great people, and then moved from that job to another job that I really enjoyed. So
What's the saying, when a door opens, go through the window or something?
Yep.
Like, just don't stay stuck staring at this closed door. There's a window right there. Go through the window and do something else.
Yeah, I always, and I say this, acknowledge your feelings. You know, acknowledge the emotion that you're feeling at the time because it's valid.
It's valid. Yeah.
But just don't stay there.
yeah.
That's our point. Just don't stay there. You know, keep it moving. But anyway, this was a really, really good topic.
It was.
And I'm going to segue into this quote. Your detours are not failures. They're chapters in your story.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
So anyway, what our hashtag going to be today? 3VU
Detours.
3VU life detours.
Life
Life
detours.
detours.
Let's do
Yeah.
that.
That's a good
That's
one.
good.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
3VU life detours.
Right. Good. All right. Well, everybody, you know what to do. Like this podcast. Share it with everybody.
Please.
Please.
So we
And
can
thank
bring
you.
more content.
Yeah.
Like sharing and subscriptions help us to bring you more content.
That's right. Subscribe to our podcast. And did I say comment?
Yep.
No, but we'll say it again if you said
Yeah.
comment.
Comment, like, share,
Comment. Yeah.
do all the things.
Yes, right. And share with us your life detours.
Oh, yeah. That's a
Okay.
good
And
one.
how it affected you and your family and friends. All right.
Yeah, this is a good episode.
Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Do us a big favor and hit that like button, share this episode, and subscribe.